As part of the new segment to the show called the Compass Literature Corner, we will be talking to local authors and writers who have had an impact on this region and whom this region has had an impact on. Today we are out of the studio and we are talking to a retired athlete who has found inspiration in injury. He's a former tight end for the Indianapolis Colts and a Super Bowl champion who has had his bell rung a few more times than he can count. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to say that today's guest is Hastings native Ben Utecht. Ben, tell us a little bit about your book, Counting the Days While My Mind Slips Away, a love story to your family, correct?
It is, yeah, and it was it was an interesting journey writing this story. It's not, the topic of concussions is not fun to talk about because it really was an injury that took me away from the game I love to play. But it also led me into another chapter in my life, which has been advocacy. And I think, the goal is to emotionally connect people to the importance of their mind and their memories. And so this book is a journey that I think can do that for people. And even though it's about, it's a football story, it's much deeper than that. And I think there's a lot of life messages that come out of the story.
A huge part of this book is explaining how the perspectives of concussions and minor or major brain injuries have changed in the sporting industry.
Yeah.
You yourself said in the book that for 15 years it has been a hot topic for NFL and you didn't really know as much as you should have known.
Yeah.
Do you think that had a huge impact on how you were treated by the league and maybe how long you actually stayed in the game?
Yeah, I definitely think that the lack of information that was available when I was playing definitely added to maybe some of the decisions that were made regarding my concussion. When you read the book, it's not only concussions, but my wife and I looked back over the course of my football career and realized I hadn't had an injury-free season since middle of high school.
Yeah.
Once I stepped outside of the NFL and went to a second opinion doctor is when I really learned how much information about concussions was really available. And I really think over the last 5 to 6 years, we've started to see that culture in American football especially change because there's been so much in the media, revolving around the concussion injury, and that's a good thing.
Do you think it also holds the league a little more accountable?
I think ultimately what holds the NFL accountable is the fans because they control the money, right? So, how does our culture, how do the fans really feel about the concussion issue and what are they saying? And then also, I think it comes down to what medical evidence do we have? And so as we learn more about concussions in the medical community over the next 5 to 10 years, the more that factual evidence comes out that nobody can stand against, that will also begin to have an effect on,
and it will
on
help
the NFL.
Preventative issues
Absolutely.
come up with it as well. And a huge part of the book is you will tell a memory and go, I really hope I can hold on to this.
Oh yeah.
How do you think this reflects in the audience? Do you think it will bring them closer to the book?
I really hope it does because I think one of the things that you really can't argue is that we all find our identity in what we can remember. We're really walking, living memories, and so that was kind of the greatest lesson that I learned is what makes me relevant as a husband, a father, a friend, is what I can remember. And I think when you really dive into telling your personal story, a lot comes out that, from your family and your friends and parents, that didn't, that you might not have always shared with kind of your significant other. So even being married for 10 years, she's learned more about me in reading this book, and so that was a real special thing to hear. And again, I just hope that people will go on this journey with me and, experience all of the life lessons that I have going through injury.
That's very true. Counting the Days While My Mind Slips Away, a love letter to my family. Where can we find this?
Well, you can find it on my website, ben-utecht.com. Otherwise, I think it's pretty much everywhere. You've got Barnes & Noble, Amazon.
Well, pick it up if you like sports. If you want to hear a love story, pick it up. It has a little bit of everything for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Major support for Compass is provided by the ongoing support of the Leo P. Flynn Estate of Millbank, South Dakota. Additional support is provided by the Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council, promoting Southwest Minnesota as a place rich with opportunity. Come for the jobs, stay for the lifestyle. More information at swmnpic.org.